Hi, I'm Dee with Modesty Matters. We're a business dedicated to providing products for modest-minded families. Today I'm going to teach you to make a very beautiful and flattering kitchen apron. So let's get started. Alright, now here are all the things we're going to need for this project. We're going to need the quilt binding. We're going to need a nice, good quality of fabric, like maybe a duck cloth, a light canvas. And if you are using a lighter weight fabric, say for the pocket or for the rest of your apron, you'll need interfacing. Okay, once you have printed out, assembled, and trimmed your pattern, we're going to take it to the fabric. We're going to lay it out just like this, with the fold here and the selvage over here. Now remember, this line with the arrows pointing like this mean to lay on the fold. Do not cut. Now we're simply going to cut starting here, all the way around, and we're going to stop right there. Now the first thing we're going to do is measure down from the very top of our apron, 1/2 inch. I'm going to press this down. Then I'm going to fold it down one more time. This time I'm going to fold it down an entire inch, press it, and I'm going to pin it in place. This is our heavy-duty machine needle. As you can see, it's a lot thicker than our average size needle. As always, we're starting in needle down position. I'm going to stitch forward and backward to lock that stitch. Then I'm going to stitch straight across the upper part of the apron. And now for your secondary fabric, we're going to pin and cut out the pocket. Now I put the sticky side, or the side with little bumps on it, toward the fabric, and I begin pressing, starting at the center and pushing out. Alright, now we've put our interfacing on, and I have sandwiched our pieces right side together. And I've pinned those in place. And what we're going to do is take this to the sewing machine, and we're going to straight stitch at 5/8 inch all the way around the curved area. We're going to leave this open. Then we're going to come back and make notches. Alright, now we're going to come back and we are going to cut out notches around the extreme curves. Now if you've taken our 12-week sewing course, You Can Sew, you'll remember that we cut out notches in order to allow this to turn very nicely. Anytime you have an extreme curve, you'll need to do this. Now be real careful that you don't cut through the line you just stitched. If you do, you'll need to go back and reinforce that. Now I'm going to turn my piece right side out. And I'm going to press it so it lays nicely. Now I'm taking something, in this case the tip of the scissors, and I'm just pressing it out, pushing it out gently, and then I'm going to press it in place. Now that we stitched and pressed our curve, we're going to come to the top and we're going to press this in here and here, 1/2 inch, lay it back, pin it in place. And then I'm going to measure over 8 inches on each side, and I'm going to make a mark. The mark is a guide for us when we go to the machine and we're putting this on the apron. This will be our center double seam that'll make 2 pockets. All right, starting in needle down position, I'm going to straight stitch at 1/4 inch all the way across the top. Okay, now we're going to position our pocket on our apron at 3.5 inches from this side, the bottom, and the side over here. So 3.5 inches, pin it on, and we're going to take that to the sewing machine. Now don't forget, we're going to reinforce here and we're going to reinforce here. Now once we've done this, we're going to come back and we're going to straight stitch in the center. All right, now remember, we're not going to sew across this top. We're only going to sew these 3 sides and down the center. I'm lining up my presser foot with about 1/4 inch. So my seam allowance will be about 1/4 inch all the way down and all the way around. With needle down, I'm going to start, I'm going to reverse, and I'm going to start again. I'm going to reverse again because we want the beginning to be very sturdy on a pocket. Again, at the end, I'm going to reverse, go forward, reverse, go forward, and go right off that pocket onto the fabric. That way it'll be nice and sturdy at the beginning. Now what you've done is top stitched this pocket onto your apron. Now I'm putting my needle down, making sure that I'm going to be right in line with this first line. I'm going to stitch forward and back, and then forward very, very slowly to make sure I make as straight a line as possible. And when I come to the end, I'm going to reverse a couple of times to make that nice and secure at the top again. Now I just moved over and I'm going to stitch that next line right next to it. Now we're going to take our piece back to the ironing board and we're going to set all those seams. All right, now that we have stitched our pocket on, we are going to take out our quilt binding and we are going to bring it right up to the edge just like this, and we're going to sandwich this. And we're going to pin that in place. And we're going to go all the way around our curve. Alright, now I've pinned our quilt binding all the way around the edges, and we're not going to worry about these raw edges now. I'll show you why in a few minutes. Alright, starting in needle down position, I'm going to line up my presser foot with the edge of this, and I'm going to stitch all the way down and around. Now you're going to use your second package of quilt binding. Now it's 3 yards long, so we're going to measure in 30 inches and we're going to begin right here. We're going to sandwich this starting at that mark that we left. Now I'm going to take those ends and I'm going to press an arrow first of all, then I'm going to fold it over just like this, and I'm going to press that and pin it in place. Now that I've pinned this all the way along each side, I'm going to take this to the sewing machine. I'm going to start at the very edge here, the very end. I'm going to straight stitch at 1/4 inch all the way along this open edge of my quilt binding, all the way along. I'm going to come up to the apron, and I'm going to stitch on and reverse stitch off and then stitch back on to reinforce it. I'm going to stitch all the way along here until I come up to here, and then I'm going to reinforce that again. I'll continue stitching all the way around until I get to this, and I'm going to reinforce again as we come back onto the apron. Stitching all the way around the apron, reinforce, and then stitching all the way to the end of our top. All right, I'm stitching a 1/4 inch in from the folded edge. I'm going to stitch on and then back off. Good thing we have heavy duty needles on our machines. Okay, now we're going to press to set those seams. And here it is. You've made a beautiful and really flattering kitchen apron. Join us again for more projects.